Okay, so in this video, I plan to continue where the previous video about the prospectus example with the interview and the slant option left off. In this video, I'm going to show an example of a prospectus that uses a survey and the Aristotelian option for evaluation. I am not going to take the time to review the informal outline again because it is the same exact one. So we'll just move to the second part of the prospectus. If you do choose to use a survey, what I'd like you to do is to create one document where you include your informal outline, the survey, and the works cited. For the survey portion of it, just put the title of the survey at the top. You can see the title of the sample survey I created. It's called Conditions of Stress Among College Students. And notice that I included the hyperlink to my electronic survey. The survey that I'm going to show you is hosted through Google Forms. This way, when I'm grading your survey, all I have to access it, all I have to do is click the hyperlink here, and that will take me to the survey. Okay, if for some reason you're unsure that the survey hyperlink is working properly, you can always email me the survey, and I will show you how to do that. Also, I've included a tutorial on how to create surveys using Google Forms. So let's pretend that I've selected the link. It has redirected me to my survey. This is what a survey could look like. Notice again, there is the title, Conditions of Stress Among College Students. Please make sure to title your surveys and give a brief description of the survey. I would say this is very helpful for participants. It lets them know how many questions are in the survey and how long they can expect to take to complete the survey. It's a good idea to manage expectations and to also be accommodating. Whoever is completing this survey is doing you a favor. So we don't want to take too much of their time. So let them know how many questions they're in for and about how long you think it will take to complete. Then give them a brief description of what is being researched and do it in a way that doesn't preview your particular claim or your particular view of how this should be solved. Okay, so in my case, the results of the survey will provide information to help me complete my research about the stressful conditions college students experience and the health services colleges provide. Okay, very vanilla, very, it is accurate, right? But it's also fairly broad so as to not give away my particular views on the subject. Just lets them know what is it that I'm researching here. All right, now I do ask that when you do the survey, you write your survey question and you have multiple responses available to them. These responses can appear in a variety of ways. The response style that I would like you to use most frequently is what we call the Likert scale response. Okay, I posted a handout to the course website. It's called Likert Type Scale Response Anchors, and it provides you a range of responses based on what it is that you are trying to have your participants evaluate. Is it their level of acceptability, what they find appropriate, how important something is, okay? And it goes on. There are 2 pages of examples here. So as you are crafting your survey questions, think about what Likert scale responses would be useful here. Now, if you do carefully study this example of a survey, you'll notice that I converted some of the interview questions into survey questions. Okay. You're not required, obviously, to do both an interview and a survey, right? But if you're in that position where you're having a hard time thinking of, well, how do you write a survey question, it might be useful for you to compare and contrast the interview questions to these survey questions here. All right, so first question, what do you think students stress about? Please select all that apply, okay? I'm trying to organize what are the different possibilities here. And what's really nice about Google Forms, it provides you a variety of options for constructing a question. You can see the different question types that are available here. In this case, I chose checkbox is because there are multiple answers here. Okay, and I selected required because that is a required question. The next few questions exemplify the typical Likert scale response. Please rate to what extent you feel concerned about academics. Notice that that is one of the questions I chose here. So your survey questions ideally should be related to each other. One of the options for what do students stress about is academics, so I wanted to see to what level of concern is someone, what do they experience regarding academics. Notice that I'm looking for concern, okay? And when I looked at the Likert scale, I found there was a Likert scale example for concern. And I know it was here. I think it's at the bottom of the first page. Okay. Here, right in the middle. Okay, level of concern. And there's the range from 1 to 5. So I made sure that when I constructed this question, I assigned number 1 to not at all concerned, all the way to number 5 to extremely concerned. Okay. And I repeated that process all the way down. Okay. Notice that I did that for 5 questions. There are no yes/no questions here. There are no binary response questions, which means questions that have only 2 options, like true, false, or yes/no. It's not that you can't use those, but know that I'm not going to give you credit for that for this assignment. Okay. In some cases, it might be very important for you to ask a yes/no question or a simple question like, are you age 18 or over? It depends on the content that you are looking for. But know that what the skill I really want to see is, can you create a survey question that uses a Likert type scale response? Okay, because we're trying to collect lots of information from a large population, and that's what surveys allow us to do, and we need to do it in an organized way. All right, so that's the survey. Okay, you need to provide a link to me so that way I can see it. As I mentioned, there are a variety of ways that you can share it. To go back to the survey page, when you click send, there are various options. You can email your survey and copy and paste your address book or any addresses that you would like to send it to. You can also use the hyperlink, right, which is what I did. Just select the shortened version and hit copy. And that's how I copied and pasted it to my Word document, or my Google document in this case. And then finally, there are other ways to link it to Facebook or to Twitter. So it just depends on how you want to share it. But when you're sharing it with me, please copy and paste the hyperlink here. Okay. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about in this second video on the prospectus example is the other evaluation option. Okay. Remember that you need 2 sources for the works cited. The source that comes from Food Matters is the one that you will have to annotate. An annotation consists of a summary and an evaluation. I reviewed the slant evaluation in the previous video, and now I'm going to talk about the Aristotelian evaluation option, which is exemplified here. Okay. When it comes to this option, you are considering the presence of pathos, logos, or ethos in the article that you are reviewing. Please see the lecture materials on the Aristotelian modes of persuasion, pathos, logos, and ethos. In this case, I chose to focus on ethos alone, okay? And I examined the ethos of Michelle Obama as exemplified in her article, okay? So you can focus on one mode of Aristotelian persuasion. I focused on ethos. You can do 2 or you can do all 3. It's really up to you. Okay. The one thing that you will notice that's missing from this evaluation is the connection, the explanation of a connection between the source and your research topic. That should probably go here at the beginning. If you want to put it at the very end, that's fine. But in some ways, explain in the evaluation, why is the article that you chose here relevant? How is it going to help your research, right? And then move into the particular form of evaluation, whether it's Aristotelian or slant. Okay. Again, to review, the prospectus involves 3 parts. Those 3 parts are the informal outline. In this example, the survey, and finally the works cited, which has 2 sources. One of those sources coming from the Food Matters book. Please remember the restrictions that I've outlined in the prompt and in the previous video, right? You can't choose any source from Food Matters. And the source that you do choose from Food Matters does need to be summarized and evaluated. That's the annotation. The lecture materials on primary research methods like interviews and surveys and secondary research methods and annotations are coming up in the week 12 lecture. Please let me know if you have any questions.